Cradle, The Rise of the Chosen, Chapter 15, Part 1. Jikuni, Balamal, Jikuni. Done well, great work, done well, Josh greeted the awed young man. Hinzu, Talilmi, and to think, this is only the beginning, he continued. Drigdi, Aoyi, Moon. I killed all these people, Taikuma wept. He wiped his eyes and looked back at the crowd down in front of the altar, and oddly enough, they were frozen still, which gave Taikuma's heart a start and a frigid chill even in the new sunlight. Syudi, Namin, Syudi. What happened needed to happen, Josh remarked. Juni, Iopi, Kionoi. They're frozen, are they alright? Taikuma asked. Yuli, Diol. Quite all right. Josh pulled up his white robe at the hip and sat Indian style in front of Taikuma, who was still on his knees. Hinju, Nitoi, Noit, Fiji. Bet you're wondering what this all means, Josh stated. Taikuma simply nodded. Yojin, Kum Kum, new life, Taikuma. Riol, Tiko, Ijili. God needs our obedience. Jimuni, Jintu. He was just trying to get our attention, Josh explained. The two of them shared a look. Oejiti Didima. What's your part? Josh asked, and Taikuma nodded, which caused Josh to break out in laughter. Dojinyo Mimal. That is part of your journey as well. Taikuma sighed and looked down upon the mossy stone. Niti, Tumikul, Bindi. I have a wife to protect now, Taikuma spoke. Hihiji, Dum, Dali. We got your back, and Josh winked and slapped Taikuma's shoulder, causing the young man to grin. Kyum, Juni. Why now? Taikuma asked. At Sutyini, war's coming. Josh winked again, and then disappeared in a flash. Taikuma instinctively looked back at the crowd, where they were now moving normally, as if nothing had stopped time or themselves, and they were rejoicing, and Taikuma was happy to find Josh walking among them. Then a hand was placed on his neck, and he smiled out to the forest. Aju, Ajuliman, Gio, Gianoa, you are what I needed, Taikuma said, and put his hand back on top of hers. She sat next to him, Indian style, and sighed. Twili, Julikal. I hate your mom, Gianoa evoked. All Taikuma could do was nod because he didn't know how he felt about her anymore. Anyway, they held hands. Uolio, Yeti, Josh. How'd you know to summon Josh? He asked. Tin Buit Dilu, Tin Buit Dilu. I cannot explain, Taikuma answered. Then many in the crowd approached the altar and called for Taikuma and Queen Gianoa to join in the celebration. And in no time they made it back to the main village, and a grand table was set outside. And since all the food was burned, Josh conjured up full spread, and even Taikuma was impressed with how easily the sun produced so much so easily. Then Taikuma desperately wanted to ask Josh if the two of them were related, family-wise in some way. They all sat down and ate and cracked jokes, and Taikuma was aware of how they avoided the terms gods and used a singular term for the most part. Some women wept for they had seen too much suffering and death. Some men stared off blankly for some reason. Gianoa was in a festive mood, but would stare at Taikuma every now and then as if he would simply vanish if she didn't make sure to spot him wherever he was. Night fell in place, cool and dry. Taikuma and his wife found a room in an old friend's hut, and they enjoyed the alone time immensely, but fell asleep as if they were pulled away by some rogue wave of gravity. In the morning, the men were working on the washed away roads, and the women were tending to the children and sweeping out their huts. Taikuma got breakfast together just for him and his wife, and they ate off in the nearby thick of trees. Josh appeared. Hunji, Ayuli, Dijinjin, my brother's girl, Josh said warmly to Gianoa as he sat with him. She was embarrassed, so she just nodded and ate for the moment. Tikuman Honji Yolji. What do we do now, holy son? Taikuma asked. Ieji miti titula. Enjoy this here and now, Josh replied, and bit into a peach. And that kept things lighthearted. The three friends ate and joked around for about an hour and then joined some road crews in their work and then helped at random huts inhabited by the elderly shut-ins. Night came and they returned to their friend's hut and lay on the pallet. Hunji tun, ioel, sitita. I noticed you seem happier here, Gianoa said, with the moonlight on half of her brown face. Nah, jikuliu. Nah, you're seeing things, Taikuma responded. Gianoa took a breath to speak, but Taikuma cut her off. Minju, noilt wit. No, I'm not staying here, Taikuma assured her. It might not be that bad, Yuli, ritul mal. If it wasn't for your mom, she said. Mantul itrayama viot jimil. My eyes are telling me we have to leave here, Taikuma admitted. He put his arm over his wife and kissed her, and they immediately fell asleep. Then morning came, and everyone was talking among themselves because it appeared that Josh had left, and it was true. Taikuma couldn't feel his physical presence near anymore, but his spirit was among them staunchly. Taikuma had told his friends that let him stay in their house that he was leaving today, and they had told their other friends, so the entire village threw them a farewell breakfast and thanked Taikuma emphatically for bringing Josh to save them. Taikuma warned them not to turn their backs on Josh, and they all denied they ever would. At the road out of the village, Taikuma's mother was standing by the gate, and his heart was in his throat. Taikuma, she said plainly. Yil Kilman, mother. They stared flatly at each other for a few strange moments. Yilu, Oyayu, Perti, Jui Kilman. Take care of yourself, mother. And he and Gianoa walked on into the forest. Gianoa was pitched for a good mile or two away from the village. As was common in our time, compared to Taikuma's, the way back on the trip always seemed faster. They blazed through the Julie with speed they wouldn't consider possible if there was a digital means to track it. They felt full in spirit, which translated to not needing much physical food, which would mean more stops.